Don't know how to start, so I just will, I guess. I messed up bad. I was an idiot, and I wrote a post yesterday in another sub about wanting an open relationship, and my husband found out. That led to a massive fight, and he said some things I didn't like, so I left the house and went for a walk. A coworker of mine, he's the man I wanted to be in an open relationship with, gave me a call and invited me to his house. I decided since the conversation had gotten me nowhere, I'd just go ahead with it, so I asked him to pick me up and we went back to his house. We had a few drinks and went to the bedroom. He put the TV on and we watched some stupid film for a few minutes. I was feeling frisky, so I made a move and went down on him. The result was disappointing, to say the least. He came in about 20 seconds and without warning. He then basically ignored me and went back to the TV. This went on for about an hour, and just as I was started to think about leaving, he began to started to straddle me. I basically just said screw it and went with it. The sex was terrible, like full on mortifying. He refused to go down on me because his tongue was sore from eating Pringles, so we went straight to sex, and it was just 10 minutes of awkward thrusting. He forgot to pull out too. Afterwards, he rolled back over and went back to watching TV. I just got dressed and went straight home. On the way back, I did some thinking and realized all I wanted was some excitement to escape the routine, and it's not all it's lived up to be. When it comes to actual sex, my husband is far better than anyone else I've been with due to sheer experience, and I wish I'd seen that before. I was also very harsh to him. I put down his size in my last post, but after thinking about it, he's around 7 inches, so he's not that small. I was just letting a fantasy of being with someone else take over. When I got home, my husband was still in the kitchen. I tried to talk to him, but he just put headphones in and started to cook pasta. Eventually, he took them off and put the pasta in a bowl. I asked if I could have some, and he said he doesn't share and just ate it all. I was exhausted and emotional, so I just went to sleep. He woke me up about an hour later, and I thought he was trying to have sex or something, but instead he just took my duvet and threw me a towel before going into the living room and setting up to sleep. I got back to sleep after finding a rug. I tried to talk to him while he was on the couch, but he ignored me. I woke up early because it was cold and the heater was off in my room. That gave me some more time to think, and I realized how badly I messed up and I need to work on being a better wife. I tried to talk to my husband all day. He's just unresponsive. I tried to make a move on him and he rejected me and left the room. He's never once done that before. He'd at least go down on me if he was too tired for sex, but today he was just completely disinterested in anything at all. I've noticed he hasn't eaten or drank anything today either. He just looked tired. I tried to sit him down and talk to him, but he just got up and left the house. I tried to call him, but it went to voicemail, so I texted him saying I loved him and for the sake of our marriage we need to talk soon. He texted me back saying this: I do not want a conversation nor a marriage with you any longer. I am going to be staying elsewhere until the new year. When I return, I expect you to be gone. This was my house before and I don't want you here anymore. I've contacted a lawyer and from now on we will communicate via her. I'm no longer using this number. I've made some calls and apparently my husband is staying at my sister's house. I'm concerned because she's attractive and single, and I know she's had a little crush on him for a while now. I have a feeling she's going to use this to try and make a move. I texted her and asked her what's going on, and she said she loves me but she's not going to support me after what I did and that we shouldn't talk for a little while. I understand I messed up, but she's my sister and she's supposed to be there for me right now, not playing housewife to my husband. I have a friend who lives near my sister and she told me that apparently my husband and sister were shopping together earlier and that she was acting like his girlfriend. I really don't know what to do about that, but I feel betrayed. I love my sister, but I hate her right now for what she's doing. I just hope my husband doesn't let her have her way with him. This has been a really long day and so much has happened and I really don't know what to feel or do right now. I just want things to be normal again. Sorry for the essay, but I just wanted to vent a bit. I know I fucked up, but I never thought it would get this bad. Wife is denying me as her husband and wanted to be called girlfriend instead of wife. My wife, 33 female, and I, 29 male, have been married 4 years now, coming on 5. We have generally had a good relationship and a good marriage. We had a reasonably expensive wedding, which we're still paying for now. I get the bill every month to prove it. My wife took charge of planning the wedding, so it was to her tastes. She seemed to enjoy it at the time, and for the first few years of our marriage, she would look back at the wedding with me happily and without issues. In recent months, I've noticed my wife's attitude to our wedding and our marriage itself shift. It began by her, I thought, jokingly referring to herself as my girlfriend. She told me to buy her a girlfriend card for Valentine's Day rather than a wife one, for example. I thought she was just playing around at first, but this behavior has only escalated. 2 months ago, my wife stopped wearing her wedding ring. I was understandably upset and asked her if there was something wrong. She told me everything was fine and she just doesn't the sensation of jewelry on her hands. My wife has never liked rings and jewelry, so this could be the case. But when we are with friends, my wife will get upset if I talk about her as my wife wife rather than just a girlfriend. She will go as far to interrupt me if I'm talking, telling a story to correct me on our relationship. Initially, this was something our friends laughed at, but now everybody just finds it understandably awkward. One of our friends was talking about their own wedding, which is scheduled for early next year. They asked for advice from my wife about how she'd planned ours, and my wife responded with what wedding. When our friend continued talking about the table decorations my wife had used, my wife visibly teared up in front of the whole group and had to step outside. Later that evening, I asked her directly if she has a problem with our relationship or if I'm doing something wrong in our marriage. She assured me that everything is fine between us. From my perspective, outside of this issue, our relationship is as strong as ever. We are considering kids in the near future, our sex life is great, and my wife recently suggested we get matching tattoos as a renewal of our love. Is there advice anyone can offer on why my wife might be acting like this and what I should do? She cheated. I'm figuring it out and it hurts. Hello everyone. I, 34 male, found my wife, 33 female, in our bed with another man. A little background. For the sake of my sanity, I will refer to wife as Ellie. My best friend's name is Omar. Not real names. Ellie and I met in college and hit it off right away. When we started dating, I was not really assertive. You could accurately say that it was her showing interest and desire in me that made me really begin to value myself and work past a ton of insecurities I used to deal with. I was just a hardworking, nerdy, smart dude, but had never had any real luck with women. To me, it was almost incredible that someone as smart and beautiful as her would show as much interest in me as I showed in her. We both have always been driven, which led to us separately building small businesses of our own by the time we graduated college. We moved in together after graduation and a year later married. We had what I considered a very strong marriage. We had weathered family tragedies, professional challenges, small and large disagreements, and always managed to work through everything, and I felt it always made us stronger. Ellie has always had a huge social circle that included a fair number of men, but I never thought too much about it as she never did anything that raised flags, since all social outings seemed to always be as a large mixed group, and I came to trust her closest friends. As our 10-year anniversary was coming up, I decided to bring up the topic of starting a family. Early on in the relationship we had together, decided to compromise on the size of our family. I wanted kids, she wanted none or at most one, so we agreed on having one. Now 10 years into our marriage, secure economically and thinking how healthy though our relationship was, I brought the topic up. I can't help but think me doing this may have started this whole chain of events. A little over 3 months ago, she tells me she is going out with her friends to have some fun. She basically told me she needed to unwind as she was getting stressed about me asking about having kids again. That night she comes back at 4 a.m. Starting with that day, our bedroom goes completely dead. In our relationship, Ellie has always initiated as much as me. In fact, on average, I would say more often than me, and for rare periods when we were dealing with traveling, I can't think of us ever going more than 5 days without some form of intimacy. She starts going out more, guarding her phone, avoiding me, all this stuff I had never seen from her before. After about 4 weeks of this, I talk to Omar, my best friend, and he points me to Reddit and I start reading. Eventually, I decide I need to do something about this as it's beginning to put me in a bad mood. I don't just want to trust her, I like to trusting my wife, I need to trust her. Well, needless to say, I get my hands on her phone and check her calls and texts, feeling like a complete monster violating her privacy. Turns out that one of the people new to her social circle is an old high school flame from before we were together. The more I dug, the more I found. I think the fact I'd always trusted her completely made her complacent about hiding the affair better. I found out that during that party a month before, he had attended, and they spent all night catching up and ended up kissing, not even really hiding it from her whole group of friends, and then conveniently going to the bathroom at the same time. Up to this point, all I had felt has been this giant pit of anxiety in my stomach, a part of me trying to hold on to the image of the woman I thought I had married, a kind of self-delusion. But the anger and sadness start getting overwhelming, made worse by the fact that she seems oblivious to my sudden indifference. She didn't notice I had stopped making romantic gestures. I felt like I was breaking inside. Finally, a month ago, I decided to catch them in the act, and I tell Ellie I am going to visit my cousin for the weekend. He lives 3 hours away, but instead I go stay with Omar, who has been helping me record and copy everything. I waited, and sure enough, she brought him to our house, to our bed. I snuck in the house and made my way to our room, and the sounds left no doubts. They were so into it they didn't notice me standing there at the door recording them with my phone. I literally felt something in me break, like something in my soul snapped so hard I could hear it. My veins went ice cold, and something like a 10-ton anvil had been dropped on my chest. I couldn't breathe. I went numb. This next part I can only tell you what Omar says happened because I only remember parts of the next few minutes. According to Omar, who I had brought as a witness witness. Apparently, I walked up to them, pulled the guy off the bed, and Omar pulled me off of him. I remember Omar holding me down on the ground. After that, there was the normal hysterics of being caught. I went no contact for 5 weeks and began working with a lawyer, preparing for the worst. Omar served as her contact point during that time since I simply didn't want to talk with her. Ellie contacted my family and told them that we are having problems. After the 5 weeks of NC, we met and talked. She was remorseful, told me it wasn't my fault, that it was all her doing, her responsibility and her decisions. We decided to go to marriage counseling and at least explore if there is anything salvageable. Sitting here, I can't believe that even after that, I still love her. I am disgusted with myself that I have thought about her well-being, about her happiness. I especially hate that now I have to question our entire relationship. Was it just now that she got brazen about cheating, or has it happened before and I didn't bother looking far enough or was too stupidly trusting to see it at all? It's been now almost a month since deciding to try marriage counseling, and my questions to those who have already gone through this are the following. 1. Is it possible to reconcile without feeling that you lose some self-respect? 2. How long does the anger to sadness to numbness, rinse and repeat cycle last? I'm getting exhausted of the constant emotional roller coaster. 3. I find myself really loathing the whole idea of having to essentially be on the constant lookout. Is that a sign of me wanting out or just me being exhausted? Cause I honestly can't tell. I'll take any advice, honestly. I love her. I've been head over heels for her since we met back in college. I want to work it out. Is it actually possible? And if it is, will it ever resemble what it used to be even remotely?